there, James. Welcome. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. Thanks for being here.
It's no secret. It's plain to see.
Welcome, Jessica. We'll get started in just a couple moments. Thanks for being
And you love me. It's no secret. You know it's true. You love me. And I love you. The only time we seem to meet is in the middle of the night. Only then can I feel your heartbeat. Till something's not right. Together I see you and me, always and all time. But not everyone would agree. To them it's a crime. It's no secret. It's plain to see. Yes, I love you. And you love me. And it's no secret. You know it's true.
All right. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for being here live in the studio or streaming on the web on YouTube. Thank you for joining us this evening. It is the first evening edition of Broader Perspective Wisdom. Hello, Valerie, also Jessica and James. Thanks for being here in the studio. If you are new to Fireside and you are on an iOS device, you're welcome to join the conversation. There should be a button that you can hit when you want to speak, requesting to speak. For those of you joining us live who are not physically with us in the Fireside studio, love having you here. And if anything comes up and you'd like to ask any questions, share some thoughts, you can do that over on Facebook Messenger. I'm going to check that throughout the broadcast. We'll see how this goes. This is the first time I'm doing it like this. And yeah, I'd love to take questions from anybody who is looking for clarity, for calm, for some broader perspective wisdom around something that is causing frustration or confusion in your life. If you are feeling good and you're just hanging out because you just want to get the good vibes, welcome. You are always welcome here. If you are not feeling good, do not be shy because that is the goal. The goal is always to help you feel more empowered and more powerful and more joy. I believe that that's what life is all about, feeling good. And if we can help everybody feel a little bit better during this broadcast or on the replay, thank you if you're listening on the replay on Fireside or on the podcast or wherever you're catching this. That's always the goal. If you are catching the replay or the podcast broadcast and you're not live with us, feel free to come on over to growthseekerswelcome.com. Shoot me a message. Let me know what is going on for you and anything that you'd like to discuss. Happy to have a one on one connection. Hey, Kurt, thanks for joining us. And yeah, so that's that's the intro, I suppose. If anything comes up, if you're curious about anything, just let me know. Again, you can hit that button to request to speak if you're in the Fireside app live on the call. If you are not, if you're on the call live but you're not on Fireside, you can always message through Facebook Messenger. I'm at facebook.com/growth seekers welcome all together. And if you are catching the replay, then feel free to come on over to growthseekerswelcome.com and shoot me a message there. Love to hear from you. So, I know that some folks here have never been on Fireside before, so thanks so much for joining me. You guys can play around. James, you're a pro, so if anybody wants to play around, hit those buttons. Let's hit that react, see what happens. And yay! All right, that means that you guys can hear me, I'm assuming. So thanks again for being here. I'm just gonna right off the bat, if anybody's interested in hopping into the hot seat and starting conversation, we can talk about anything you want. Right now, I've noticed that, well, it's not just right now. I mean, it's been going on for a long time, but I'm finding it, hmm, overwhelmingly common that folks are feeling very frustrated these days and overwhelmed. There's a lot of imposter syndrome going on, a lot of questioning if you really know what the heck you're doing. And this is happening with like really, really smart, talented people. And that's got to stop. There's a lot of mixed messaging out there that just doesn't feel good. And I want to make sure that we squash anything that doesn't feel good, and we want to bring you into the powerful creator that you are. So don't be shy. Feel free to hit that button to chat. Um, yeah, anything that's coming up for you, kids, family, career, company, everything is welcome here. There are no conversations off limits. So, because this is an interactive platform, and that is my intention for utilizing Fireside, I'm here to engage with you. I use the podcast in other ways to do one to many broadcasts. So, I'm just going to sit back here and wait. Wait for somebody to request to speak or shoot me a message somewhere and let me know what you want to talk about. Hopefully, you guys can request to speak. Hopefully, that button's working. Let's see. I don't know. I don't see anything. Oh, come on, guys. You're killing me. What do we want to talk about today? So many things. Let me go into my messages because I've been talking with a lot of folks about a lot of things for a lot of days, a lot of time. Oop, let's see. All right. Okay. Valerie, do you see that button to hit to request to speak? Because I'm not seeing a request from you. So I don't know if that's on my end or your end. I'm going to hit the speaker button and invite you to stage. We're going to bear with Valerie because she's got a numb mouth from the dentist. Let's see. Valerie, invite. All right. So it looks like I sent you an invite. Yay! Awesome. You are on stage. All you got to do is unmute that mic and we can start chatting. Maybe.
Hello?
Maybe. Hello. Thank you for
Hi,
joining
wait.
me.
Mm.
So, what have you got going on tonight? What can we talk about?
Oh, I think I have a really good question.
Perfect.
I'm sorry if I sound funny, everybody.
You
I
sound
just came back from
perfect.
the dentist, so I'm trying really hard.
You sound
Um,
perfect.
Thank you. My question is, uh, I have always put other people first since I was very, very young. I've always taken care of all my siblings and everything, and it kind of made me grow into putting people first before myself and things like that. But as an adult, I'm now dealing with things like, you know, taking care of myself, whether it's like physically or just mentally type of thing. So I would like to know what are some good ways that I can love myself better.
Such a great question. Thank you. Thank you for bringing this up. Such an important question. And if you can relate and you're here with us, let's hit that react and thank Valerie for sharing. Let's see. I think this is, oh, goodness. Let's see. How do we do this? Ah, I think there's a way of like clapping or something, guys. How does this work? Oh, I can't figure it out. Oh, well. All right. Well, I know that a lot of people do relate to this. It is very difficult to prioritize oneself, especially when they have so many responsibilities and commitments. Um, Talk to me about some of the things that you already incorporate, Valerie. Let's talk about um, how would you like to take better care of yourself?
Well, right now, like I said, I gave it a dentist, so I neglected my health in that way. Like I just wouldn't be very consistent with oral health
Hmm.
because I don't. I guess I had this thing where I just don't see myself as important,
Mm.
and there's times where I just keep up with little things of like physical or just cleaning my home and things like that. But I tend to kind of fall off the wagon a little,
Hmm.
and just just like once I kind of stop and catch a break, I just continue to stay stagnant, I guess. And
So,
so I kind of
so
would like
let's
to learn how to be consistent with that.
sure. So you have a history of taking care of everybody else, your siblings, and I believe you're a parent as well. So and a spouse. So how do you show your love, demonstrate your care giving to others? What's one of the most prevalent ways that you express care for another?
I do lots of gift giving a lot,
And
or
what's a common gift for you? Like how do you give gifts? Are these gifts that you go buy? Are these gifts that you make? Like tell me about that.
usually buy or like helping a friend, clean out their home. It's so easy for me to do that versus my own.
Mhm. And so when you gift somebody, whether it's your time or a present, how does that make you feel?
Kind of like I am important in a lot of ways. And I think when I was growing up, I kind of lacked that a little bit. So I took it as like, if I do this for other people, then maybe I'll get that in return type of
Mm.
thing.
So there's a bit of expectation maybe around that of you
Hmm.
give
Sometimes, yeah.
and you give and you give and you give and eventually it's like, wait, who's giving to me? Yeah?
Yeah, a lot.
So, what are some of the things that if you were to receive from another person that would make you feel really appreciated? Can you think of any things, whether it's time or whether it's a physical gift or just anything that you think, oh wow, I would really love to receive this?
It would be time. I feel is the most important because physical is more short term, and I think time is more long lasting and more memorable.
Okay,
Um,
so let's talk about what that is. So if you were to receive a gift of from someone else that really really fills your bucket, what would that be? What do you think would just make you feel like over the top if somebody just dropped into your lap right now and said here you are? What
that's a
would be
good
like the
question.
best?
I haven't even thought of that myself. I guess maybe like more appreciation of what I do.
Okay, tell me about that. What would the gift be? How would you receive that? What would happen if someone were just to say, all right, boom, you're getting the biggest gift that you could get right now? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What's that tangible experience like? Imagine the best.
It would probably be a trip because I love to travel,
Mm.
and I don't get that many opportunities to do so. So probably like a trip to Italy because I have wanted to go there before, or
So
just
if you
Japan.
think
So
about it, if you're thinking about a trip, you love to travel, you're thinking about a trip to Italy you've never been, what is it about the trip that you think will be fulfilling for you?
the experience in itself.
So what about what in the experience? Like what is it? I'm trying to understand what it is you're like that lights you up, that feels good. Is it the physical movement? Is it going to another space that looks different or sounds different? Like what is it about the journey or the destination that really turns you on?
A new location with new experiences, and most importantly, would be with the person I'm with. Count matters the most because if it's somebody that enjoys the same experience as I do as well, then it would make me like extremely happy, and I'll remember that for the rest of my life, type of
Hmm.
thing.
And what about by yourself? Have you ever considered traveling by yourself? Or have you had experiences that were joy filled traveling by yourself and having new experiences alone?
Yeah, as a mom, as a mom,
Yeah.
um, maybe going to the coffee shops. I like to go to coffee shops for myself when I can.
Hmm.
Um, but then I have to face like the reality of me being by myself, which I haven't really done because I've been so used to being around other people, doing other things for other people.
So that's a biggie, and I think that would be great to talk about at another time. I want to just to make sure we get the opportunity to get more people involved. Let's stick with just for now the act of, okay? So it sounds like you've identified that you enjoy coffee shops. So
Hmm.
I'm going to give you a tip, a tactic, something that you can do to actually get more and more experience of the joy. Because at the end of the day, a lot of times we focus externally on what we think we want because we don't have that experience, right? So it's very easy to say, well, I'd really like to do this. And I'd really like to do that. And I'd really like to have this. And I'd really like to experience that. But this is coming from the lack of awareness of what it actually feels like, right? So, what I'd love for you to do is start making a list. And we'll start it with this is for you on your homework, on your time. You're
I
going to
know. I'm
start.
like, let me get a pen real quick so I can write it down.
Just listen, just be present, and then you can always come back to the recording after, right? So I'm going to encourage you to make a list starting out with coffee shops because that's what's easy right now. We know that coffee shops are enjoyable and we're going to forget about that whole like, well, but that's then I have to face the reality of being alone. That's a whole nother topic we can talk about a different day because it's the act of actually just recognizing here's something that I enjoy. And I'm not guessing here, I'm not expecting here. I know that when I go to coffee shops, I enjoy that. And I know that when I experience things that are new and fresh and that I haven't done before, I really enjoy that experience. I really enjoy, and you can get as get as detailed as you want about what you enjoy. Is it the smells? Is it the sounds? Is it the taste of specific things? So these are things that you can work on over time to get more and more aware of what you already know that you enjoy. And so you're going to make this list of all the coffee shops within whatever radius of your home that feels doable. And you're going to, if you can just mute your mic for a moment and then thank you, sweetie. So you're going to make that list of all the coffee shops within a specific radius that's manageable for you on a day-to-day basis. And these are going to be places you actually make a couple lists. You can say, all right, in this list, these are all the ones I haven't been to before. And then in another list, you can say, these are all the ones I've been to and I really like. And then when you are finding some free time, right, when you're having a thought and just recognizing, I'm feeling antsy right now and there's nothing I have to do. What can I do that would really honor me and would remind me of how important I am? Because I can't take care of everybody else unless I'm taken care of first. If I don't take care of my teeth, then I'm going to have pain or I'm going to have experiences that I don't want. So, what do I want? When we figure out what it is that we enjoy, we can actively put ourselves in joy more, right? So you make that list of all the potential coffee shops that you haven't been to yet and all the coffee shops that you really, really enjoy. If you find a coffee shop that you don't like, don't list it because we don't want to focus on A, that which we don't enjoy, and B, that which we don't know yet, right? Because the way manifestation works, the way we increase our joy, the way we improve our experience, the way we shift from lacking to having is by figuring out where it's easy to source the joy. And the more you practice that, the better you'll get, and the easier it'll be to be able to just in an instant eventually say, oh, I'm so special, right? And to be able to do that self love without externalizing it. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I did have another question with that as well.
Okay.
What happens when I do go? Because I have, like you said, like the smells and things like that
Mm.
of what I do like. But what happens when I have a wandering mind and I start to think about the things I have to do for that day?
Sure. So, first off, that's a great question. So, first off, when you do go, you're going to stop. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to start appreciating, right? Even just in the realization that you have somewhere to go, that's something you can go, I'm so happy that I have somewhere to go. Look at this list. What a smart thing that I created a list when I was feeling good and when I was actively thinking about wanting to feel good more and more and take care of myself. I'm so proud of myself for having done the work. I'm so proud of myself for having created this, right? So now you're appreciating the work that you did to get to where you're at that moment. So then the next step is you decide, okay, I'm going to go to this coffee shop. So you're going to get in your car and you're going to, or walk, and you're going to start moving in the direction of the coffee shop. And on your way, notice all of the things that really can be appreciated. Wow, I'm so appreciative of how easy the traffic is today. It feels like, everything was just synced up for me to get there really simply. Or maybe the traffic is really bad. So if you notice the traffic is really bad, you can say, wow, I'm so appreciative that I'm safe. I'm in my vehicle right here, right now. I'm not in a rush. I was just going to go to the coffee shop to enjoy being at the coffee shop, but it's really not that important if I actually make it. I am alive right now. Who knows what this traffic is about? It's possible that people are hurt. It's possible that there's accidents. I'm so grateful that I am safe. I'm alive. Does that make sense? So you're going to go through that until, let's say, you get to the coffee shop and you notice there's parking right up front. Wow, rockstar parking just for me. How awesome is that? I'm so deserving of that. I really, really enjoy bringing so much good stuff into my life just by paying attention to all the good stuff that's presented in my life, right? Or maybe there's no parking spot up front and maybe you've got to walk a mile. Wow, I'm so appreciative that I get to get out in the air, move my body, and get this exercise on my way to the coffee shop. I wonder what I'm going to enjoy today. I wonder what their specialty is. I wonder what the best drink there is. I wonder, right? So you're going to get curious about all the good stuff. You notice all the good stuff that you can identify, you appreciate it, and it brings you to wanting more of that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And it brings you to expecting more of it, the good stuff. And this is very, very, very powerful because you're appreciating what you already have, you're expecting more good. And when you come from the perspective of appreciation, everything is good. There is no bad, right? So when your mind wanders, and it will, and you start thinking about the day, then a question that I use a lot is, I go from, oh gosh, okay, all the stuff I have to do, and it's like stressing. And so then I just stop myself and I go, do I want to be stressed out right now? Of course I don't. What do I want to be? How do I want to feel? And I like to write. I feel like when I have pen and paper, and I write something down, it's for me personally more impactful. Everybody's different, but you may even want to try just hanging out with some notebooks, some little notepads everywhere, a couple of pens. And if you like, I love colors. So, whatever feels good to you, prepare yourself for feeling good. And so when your mind wanders and you start thinking about all the things you have to do, then ask yourself, what would be the most enjoyable thing to do first? Or what if I didn't actually have to do that today? What if I could just play hooky and maybe it's just not that important? What would I do instead? So it's this constant reframing of anything that comes in. When you think things that distress you, it's because you've practiced the behavior of being distressed. You've practiced the behavior of depreciating. You've practiced the behavior of being depreciated, right? And so when you stop yourself from participating in your habits, and all you've got to do for that is just become aware. When you stop becoming depreciative and you start shifting into being an appreciator, and every single thing that you witness, every single thing that you observe, you take a pause and you go, what's the value in that? How can I appreciate that? And I guarantee 100% of the time, there is something to appreciate in everything, in every experience, even the most horrific, tragic, grief filled experiences. There are things to appreciate. And it's really just reframing how we see the world around us and how we see our experiences in the world that can help us go literally in no time at all from somebody who is feeling icky to somebody who is feeling better. Now, are we going to go from icky to amazing in the blink of an eye? Absolutely not. You can't go from 0 to 100 in no time flat, but you can go from icky to not so icky, and from not so icky to a little bit better, and from a little bit better to a little bit easier, and a little bit easier to not so bad, and from not so bad, kind of good, right? Do you see what I'm saying? So you're constantly looking for, how do I feel better? And that is 100% of the time, regardless of any external circumstances or conditions, 100% in your control. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to start leaving sticky notes for that.
Or instead of I'm going to have to start, ooh, it's going to be so much fun for me to write reminders and stick them all over the place, isn't it? And then when I see them, I'm going to just have so much fun remembering what I already know. Do you see how simple that is?
Yeah.
It's literally every single thing that we think, every single thing that we do can be reframed from, oh, got to, or this is a to-do list thing or something like that, to this is a joy. This is fun. This is a game. I like to use the word play, right? Play with people. Play with people. When you were a child, even when you had so much responsibility thrust upon you, I guarantee there were times that you were in joy, that you laughed, that you played. And no matter how few and far between they are, when you can remember that feeling of curiosity and enthusiasm and excitement and play, and you can bring that into your reality even for a moment, you are winning every time. Helpful?
Yeah, so the your words matter more when you're going to go do something, and so instead of have, it would be I get to.
Mhm. That's a good one. What else? I get to, and what else?
I don't know, I'm a little stumped.
Well, let's not be stumped. Like, what if you weren't stumped? What's another word or what's another expression rather than I have to, right? I have to. It's drudgery. I get to, I can, I'd
Or
like to,
able, or I'm
I'm
able to, I guess.
I'm able to, for sure.
Hmm.
And the more you practice that, just searching for another way of expressing from lower feeling to higher feeling, from not so great to just a little bit of relief. Every time you find that little bit of relief, it helps you to pre-pave your next experience of even more relief and even more relief and even more relief. Okay? So I would love to. So thank you so much. This is a great place to start. And I just want to see if there's anybody else. I think, Brian, were you just saying hi or did you want to hop into the? Okay, there we go. Awesome. Brian, thank you so much for joining us today. I think you're amazing and really excited. I know you've got a show to get to yourself in about 45 minutes. So, how can we serve you today?
Hi, Nicole. Well, um, the way you could serve me today is that what uh, dealing with right now is making sure that I don't burn out with everything that I'm doing between all of the events and social media stuff that I do. Um, and, I mean, it can be easy for somebody like myself with autism to burn out. And I've read about autism burnout from other people that I follow on LinkedIn and Instagram.
Awesome.
So,
So, Brian, I'm going to cut you off a little bit because what I'd love to do is I want to keep you in the perspective of possibilities. Okay. And the more we focus on what others say, and I know this really, really slaps in the face pretty much everything you've been taught, pretty much everything everybody's been taught. When we are feeling low, and ps burnout is a reality for everybody, whether we're autistic or not. Burnout is a real thing right now more than ever before in the history of creation. There are more messages and expectations that are put upon all of us for that we believe we have to meet, and the truth is, we actually don't. But that's a really, really difficult thing to wrap your head around. So let's just start with reframing, just kind of like we did with Valerie, when you're observing something that feels heavy. Let's look at how we can relieve that just a little bit. So, if I'm not mistaken, you are you are a community leader. You have a show, you have social media. You really, really, really care about helping others with autism live phenomenal lives. True?
Yes, and I care about helping others who are not on the spectrum as well.
Perfect. And so, the best way that any of us can serve others is by being that which we are speaking of, right? So, if you're out there burning out, right, and you're focusing on burning out, then there's a good chance when we talk about burning out that we're bringing people to be more aware of burnout. So, what I would encourage you to do is to really think about when I feel low, when I feel like I'm burning out, is there anything I could do or like for myself or give myself or think about that just feels a little bit easier. So I'm not focusing on the burnout. Yes, I know I have a million things to do. Yes, I have all these expectations, but right now I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling like I'm burning out. I'm feeling overwhelmed. What could I do right now, even for a minute or two, just to feel good? Do you have some examples of things that you know that help you feel good at any given time?
Yeah, well, talking it out for one, but
Can you
also
talk it out to
my exercise
yourself?
routines. Um, can I talk it out to myself? Sometimes I can, yes.
So that's awesome. So that's something that you'll want to put on a list, right? Maybe at the top you write list of ways to get out of burnout when I'm feeling like I'm going down the rabbit hole, right? And so, since sometimes, not always, but sometimes it helps to self talk, that's one technique that you can use when you're feeling like you're going downward to bring yourself back upwards. Does that make sense?
Yes.
What else? Do you have an animal? Do you have any toys? I mean, toys could be anything. Like I said, like I love play. I think play is a really important thing. So anything that you can play with can be a toy or an instrument that can incite you to feel better. Do you have any of these types of things?
Um, I don't know if they would necessarily be labeled toys, but I do have some things that I could tap on or something like that along the
Does
lines.
it bring you
So,
joy when
so
you
yeah,
do?
yeah. I mean, I will say too that one of my autism traits is hand flapping, and I don't do it as much as I did as a kid, but like sometimes when I get excited and I'm all by myself, I'll be hand flapping, but I'll turn that into like basketball or something, air basketball. So
Awesome.
that sort of brings me joy
That's
too.
fantastic. So put that on a list. If you're a list person, right? Maybe you're not a list person, but if you're a list person, put that on a list. Write down all of the different things that sometimes help you feel better. Because when we have a list, this is like a toy box, right? If you think of as a child, you put all your toys away in one place. And then when you want to go play, you start pulling things out, and the child will go, I don't want to play with that. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested. And they make a big mess throwing things about until they find something that soothes them. It's the exact same thing, no matter how old we are, no matter what our conditions are, the more we can place into our virtual toolbox or sorry virtual toy box, right? Toolbox, toy box, whatever. It's all the same. And it can be a virtual, it can be a physical. But when we become aware and we give our attention to things that help us feel good, good is easy to feel. When we don't do the work to really identify and put it down in a way where we could look at it, because when we're in crisis, when we're feeling overwhelmed, when we are exhausted, we cannot use our brains very well, right? It's like this brain fog. It's, it's like it hurts to think. So these are the times where it's really helpful to have a toy box or to have a list or to have some kind of notes around the house, right? Or something that can help us to remember just by observing it. Oh, yeah, I've got options. I don't have to feel like this right now.
Yeah, yeah. I am agreeing with what you're saying here, and I do also want to apologize. I didn't know if you felt a little bit annoyed last time I was on your stage here, um, because I know I tend to speak a lot, but
So you know
I
what,
wasn't
Brian?
always
I'm
heard.
going to I'm going to encourage you to not apologize. I actually just shared this with somebody who I think they might be in here. Yeah, they're in here. I'm gonna actually read you what I wrote this other person earlier today because this other person had written me an apology. And I want to tell you exactly what I told them because I feel like it may serve. Um, maybe if I can find it. Just one sec. There we go. All right. Thank you for the claps. All right. So you are magnificent, Brian. You really are. And I understand that you're not always heard and that people aren't always patient as you'd like them to be. And I will tell you that I come off sometimes. Sometimes people feel that I'm testy or I'm impatient. And it's not that that's my intention to put out, but that's sometimes how I'm received, right? And so when it comes to me personally, you have nothing ever to apologize for. Ever, ever, ever. I love you unconditionally. I appreciate you unconditionally. And no matter what, right, there's always going to be times where we're all human and there's miscommunications or missteps. And the thing is, when we focus on what we believe is unwanted, we feel anxious, we feel sad, we feel angry, we feel less than. But that is 100% our personal interpretation and experience. And I'd encourage you to start practicing little by little. It's big, and trust me, it took me years to master this, but it is so worth it. Little by little by little, start remembering who you are. And you are divine. You are perfection personified. And regardless about anybody else's opinion, their opinions, if it is not life giving and appreciating, those opinions are none of your business because you are perfect in who you are. Okay. So that is one thing I want to encourage you. Don't apologize for being who you are. Don't apologize for habits, for behaviors. If somebody doesn't like your behavior, that is all about them. It has absolutely nothing to do with you, even though they'd like to put it on you. This is a way that society has been behaving, and it's been a habit and a pattern that's been getting more and more and more aggressive. And it's really hard. It's really, really hard to be around that kind of energy where people are spewing their distaste for themselves at others. But when you start appreciating yourself, and even in what you said before, when you've mastered the hands, right? And sometimes you allow your hands to be free and you allow your body to move in the way that it does. And you know that basketball is one way that you can feel better about that. I'd encourage you to really appreciate how other people are so afraid to throw their hands around. I mean, I like to dance in the street sometimes. If I feel good, I want to express that. If I feel anxious, I'm going to express that until I can turn it around to make it something I appreciate, right? And I've become very masterful at that. So it's not like you know, I'm Italian. I talk with my hands, right? So sometimes my hands are going all over the place too. Um, and so I used to get criticized about that all the time. And, I had a stutter and I'd get criticized about that. And so I used to be very aware of that which others didn't appreciate about me. And I would focus on their depreciation and what was wrong with me until I realized they're full of shit. That's their problem if they don't like the way I look or the way I sound or whatever. They can look the other way, they can go do something else. I had to fall back in love with myself, right? When you were a baby, you didn't worry about what other people thought. They thought everything you did was cute, right? Everything you tried, everything you did was, oh, look at that. But over time, they had different expectations. And so I, more than anything, want to encourage you to really, really appreciate every single aspect of who you are because you're worth it. And as far as apologizing, what I shared with a friend earlier was never, ever beat yourself up for being human. In the future, when a fuck moment arises around a commitment that you've made to another human, I recommend instead of apologizing, telling them something to the effect of, it was absolutely my intention to follow through with our agreement. Unfortunately, something came up for me that derailed that from happening. I know that the universe has a funny way of making things work out for the best of all. Still, I know I let you down and humbly stand in appreciation of you, welcoming further communication, however that serves. And so you're going to put this into your own language, of course, but the point of it is that we can appreciate ourselves, we can appreciate others. And there is no amount of condemning or depreciating that will change the past. This is why it's really, really important to live in the present. When we future pace and we think, oh, well, I'm going to, then we're spending energy thinking about that which is not real yet, right? It may come to fruition, it may not. So there's not a lot of sense in thinking about what I will experience or when this happens or if this happens. And then we get twisted around, well, what if it doesn't happen? And so on. This is normal. This is natural. This is human. We're going to do it regardless of whether we want to or not. So by recognizing normal human behavior and saying, that just makes me who I am. So I'm going to give myself a break right now. Let me give myself a little bit of grace, right? I'm going to appreciate who I am as if I were the child, right? I wouldn't scold a child for behaving like this, behaving like who they are, feeling their feelings, expressing themselves. And so while I may think, I've learned better, I know better, I know how to manage that, what we can do is give ourselves the grace and go, I wasn't at my best. That's okay though, because now I am, right? Past. We can accept and appreciate the past. We can take ownership. This is really important. We own our our everything. We own what we have created, and we don't do it depreciating. We own, and it's hard when we're embarrassed. I mean, it's hard. But the more you practice this and the more you say, that was then. There's nothing I can do to change it. As much as I wish it didn't happen, as much as I'm embarrassed that it did, I cannot live in the past. I cannot repent for that which has already happened, because if I do, I am damaging my present. And the present is all we have, because tomorrow we may not have. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, that makes so much sense. And you had me at tears of joy when you were speaking with me just now. And so I really appreciate that. And, I know that you connected with me off of here as well. So I appreciate that as well. So that also gave me a joy that day in that moment after we were done speaking on here. So thank you, Nicole, so much. And
Mm,
yes, like you said, I love you unconditionally as well. So
mm.
thank you for your coaching. And yeah, more people definitely need to be shown this and hear this because it is a problem in our society in terms of all that
Let's stop there.
negativity.
I appreciate you, Brian. I appreciate your appreciation. I sincerely appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing and having this conversation that is to the benefit of everybody listening. And so, I just want to clap, and I don't know how to make this thing clap anymore. I'm like trying to make the sounds, but you're the expert. Do you know how to make the sounds to clap?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now.
Yay! All right.
Um,
I want to give you
so
lots
you
and lots
hit
of
the
claps.
react, you hit the react button,
Uh,
and then you look for the clap feature, and you click on it, and then you hit send, and then boom.
Yay! All right. Thank you so much for being here. It is always a pleasure, and you are always, always welcome, Brian. Thank you. If anybody else would like to come to the stage, ask a question, chat with me, please do hit that request to speak button. And if you are joining us, but you are not on Fireside, if you're not on an iOS device, you can definitely send me a message through Facebook Messenger. I'm at facebook.com/growth seekers welcome. And yeah, I'm just going to come look and and see if I have any messages, see if anybody wants to take the stage. If there's nothing, I mean, I'm happy to wrap this up. I'm also happy to go on for as long as you guys are ready. I mean, as long as you guys are here and have something that you want to talk about. I'm not seeing. Oh, let's see. Oh, who's here? Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you. Right. Oh, goodness. So many friends here. Anybody got anything? Anybody got anything? Hey, Milana, welcome. Holmes, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Wood, welcome. Muse Maria, JC, thanks for joining us. All right, friends, if there's nothing else, I'm going to wrap this up for today and keep an eye out. Oh, wait a minute. I'm getting a message. Oh, hey, thank you so much. I did just get a text from somebody telling me I'm doing great. That's awesome. Um, So, yeah, if you guys have anything more you want to talk about, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up. And if you are following me on Fireside, you'll get notified of upcoming calls. I'd really love to do more of these. I think it really can provide a lot of benefit to a lot of people. And otherwise, I'll just be, if you guys contact me again, growthseekerswelcome.com, you can leave a message there from the replay, what have you, from the podcast. And I will always do my best to answer your questions, whether it is through messaging or here live on the show or recording something and sending that out. Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys, all of you. Mwah. Have a wonderful rest of your day.